Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for Life of a Single Mom with Brittany.
And
And
Lucretia.
tonight, Creasha is going to be sharing some of her personal experiences and stories. So I'm going to let her go ahead and take over.
Hi, everyone. And before I get started, I want to let you guys know that it's going to be a couple of things in there, that I want you to know I do not condone. I'm going to talk about some things that I'm not, you know, in agreement to. And these were in my younger days. Keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to start with first, I had a childhood boyfriend, and we was going on and on back and forth. He was in and out of jail, so I pretty much just let that go. And then I met my first baby father. And he was a bad boy, and being from the city of LA, we cling to those bad boys, whether they're good for you or not. So I met him and he showed me the street life, gang banging, fighting, slanging, selling drugs, even prostitution. And we'll get into that a little deeper into some of our other episodes. But just some of the things that I was introduced into, and none of those things are good for you, but I had to go down that road for a reason. It made me who I am today. Um, my son's father was a real gangbanger, a real street guy, and I got into a whole lot of things. So, I remember one thing that stood out to me is I was walking down Figueroa one day and the police officer stopped me, and she thought that I was doing something that I had no business doing, but I was really just walking somewhere, and she asked me like, "What do you want to do with your life? If you out here on these streets, you can't do what you really want to do, which is be a nurse like I am now." So that always stuck to me because she like took time out her day to just pretty much stop me and talk to me and see what I was up to, and not a lot of people do those things. And I
So,
always say
is
I
that the time that you realized that you wanted to be a nurse when she asked you that?
No, I've been knew that I wanted to be a nurse, but I just never took that route because I was following the wrong crowd at that time. But when she said that to me, it kind of stuck with me always. Like, okay, you can't be out here doing this stuff. So I always had a conscience for the things that I was doing, but always, you try to hang with the people you kick it with. So,
Mm-hmm.
be down, so to speak. But after that, I pretty much kept doing what I was doing, and I kept seeing things in the neighborhoods, like tragedies, people dying, people overdosing, and just all of those things made me feel like it was really time for me to get up out of there. So
Mm-hmm.
a little bit after that, to speed the story up, my dad died with cancer, and I was really messed up in the head at that time. So that's when I came to Vegas with you and met the other baby father, and then oh my God, that was a hot mess. Let me tell y'all, I'm gonna have to have a whole episode to myself to talk about that. But one thing that I did learn is that God was with me my whole entire time, because it was times that I came to an apartment complex and everybody I know had been summoned, you know, and the police took them all to jail. But I had just so happened that day I went to go apply for a job, and I came back and all my friends was in jail. And I was just like, what's going on? And then things was just getting heated for me, and I knew that that wasn't the life for me. So I moved to Vegas. I met my second baby father and had a baby with him really quick. So I'm 20 years old with two kids, no knowledge of nothing but the streets. I knew I wanted to do better, but I just didn't know where to start. So, a little bit after I met him, my first son's father was killed by the police. So I had to go through that mentally, and it took me 5 long years to get through that, to even be able to do something for myself. And it was a really tragedy situation. It was really it put me in a dark place. I start doing pills and smoking and drinking a whole lot, and it's like everybody around me that I thought should have cared didn't even realize how bad I was doing, you know? And I had to find myself through that. And when you hurt people, you know, or you turn to drugs and stuff like that. And I just want to take a moment to let you guys know if you ever have a situation like that to where you lose a child's father, it's not easy to get through, but you can get through it. You know, my son now, he is 19 in college and he's doing really good. You know, we all have our ups and downs and we go through things, but if you stick it out, you can get through it. It's really hard and you're going to shed a lot of tears, but you got to have good people in your life. And I just want to shout out my godmother because that was my rock during that time. That was my rock. And if I didn't have her, I wouldn't have been able to get through those days. But,
So
that put me.
what was some of the things you did to like get through those times besides like the drugs and the what did you do to cope? Did you just cry? Did you
I cried a lot. I was angry a lot. I was angry a lot. The first part, like after it happened, his mom had a restaurant, so I worked at her restaurant for a long time, for about a year, to give me peace. That's the only way that I would get peace. But I just knew that I didn't have time to sit there in my sorrows, you know, because I had this baby and then I had my other baby so quick, like, cause he was 5 months when that happened. So I had a 16-month-old and a 5-month-old. So I didn't really have time to mourn or even think about those things. I had to get on it, you know, and you know, when I came out there with you, life wasn't easy. So it was like sink or swim situation, you know, so that was, I really think till this day, I still haven't fully mourned that situation because I just had to put it in the back of my mind and keep moving forward for my kids, you know? And it's really hard. It was
I
really
that's what
hard.
I think that's what most of us do as moms. Like we never get a chance to really focus on anything that's even if something tragic happens in our life, we never get to the opportunity to sit back and actually dwell in it and be in that moment because there's others depending on us. We got responsibilities, whether it's work, the kids,
Yeah.
if you're married or you got a boyfriend or whatnot. So that's another thing that I recall saying that a lot, like this past year, that I never get a chance to just be in that moment and deal with what's going on. And I think that's as black women, especially as black mothers, I think that's just a part of our life. Like we put one tragedy behind the next. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah. So, what are some of the things that you do to help you cope with having multiple kids? You know, because I know that that is hard to battle too, because you need to be at six different places at, you know, the same time pretty much. So how do you battle all that?
Well, for me, I mean, I really haven't found an avenue that I use to cope with, the stress of being overwhelmed, especially right now, all the problems I'm having with the kids and you know, I call you crying sometimes, or, I'm talking to my aunt and I'm doing the same thing. But um, recently, I'm trying to get back into, God and I'm listening to more like uplifting music. I told you guys last time that I was listening to Rise Up by Andrea Day
Yeah, I heard that song today. I really like that.
and
That was a strong song.
yeah. And in the midst of it all, I've loved that song since I was like 14. uh when Yolanda get going, she get going, boy. And so that's what I'm doing. I want to start doing like yoga. I heard that's good for your health and it's relaxing. I want to try meditation. I'm not sure, was it you that recommended that to me?
Hmm. The
Yeah.
doctor I work for does that, and I tried
She
it.
sure.
It takes some real mindset to do
Yeah, I
that
know.
because
Cause it's
I
hard to
could
tune
not
out
shut my
everything.
brain
Yeah,
off. Like I was
that's what I
sitting
was.
there thinking about why your brain won't shut off, and I'm
Yeah,
just like, oh my god, this is frustrating me because I can't do it. So she
that's
said
what
that
I
I
was
just need to
saying
go into it and
when we
not
were
think
at
so
the
much into it.
when we were at her house. That's what I was saying. She got a whole Zen garden set up for her to be out there
Hmm.
doing that.
Yes, and it's
But
so peaceful.
yeah, it's so peaceful. But
It is.
yeah, so I haven't really found any ways to cope, but I'm looking and we're open to any suggestions.
Yeah. Um, I do want to touch bases again on what I was talking about as far as the death of my son's father, because I feel like
Go ahead, the floor is
when
yours.
when you're a mom and you've been through that and you watch your son grow up or your daughter,
Ooh, talk
you
about
are
that.
hurt
Talk about
for them. You know, you're hurt for them, and it's like everything you try to do double because you want to fill that void, you know. And I have such a great son because he tell me all the time, like, Mom, I can't really, miss what I didn't know. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm so sad, you know what I'm saying? And I wonder if it's moms out there that think we overthink those things, instead of letting our kids just express their feelings and not us just helping them express their feelings because we're like mixing our feelings with their feelings and they may not even feel the same way. But I do know
Mhm.
that it was hard for me, like Father's Day, that's always been hard for me because, I'm not a together family. So my kids were not celebrating Father's Day as a family, as a unit, and my oldest, he will never get to see his father, so I'm always wondering like how he feels on Father's Day and what does that make him feel like when he see everybody with their father? Probably the same way I feel when I'm not with my father. But
Yeah.
those things we need to have groups because I remember when he got killed, everybody pretty much put it to the side because he was in the wrong when it happened. And no matter what, I don't think that your life should be taken, no matter what you do. But now that I have this kid, I have to grow with him and be the one to solely provide for him. Thank God that I had a blessing, my other kids' grandparents helped out a lot. But
Hmm.
at the same time, it's nothing like your own family. And it was just really
Yeah.
hard, to watch my son grow up and be in that situation and not be able to help him because as mothers, we tend to nurture our babies and want to help them through everything. And this is one of those things that I had to literally let God guide me through because I couldn't go through that by myself. I used to mope around and be so sad, like so sad for him, not even me. And it's just crazy. And everybody else just living their life. They ain't thinking about that, but it's really hurtful. Yeah, that was a
That's what
real
I
big
wanted to
situation.
ask, like from his point of view, like what type of things did you notice that even though he wouldn't talk, because I know kids kind of keep their feelings in, especially boys. What kind of things did you notice that made you feel like, oh, it's a shame that he didn't get to meet his dad, or I can tell he longing for that dad, or you know what I mean?
Well,
Did he
for
get
me, I
sad?
mean, I feel like he might have always had a sense of having a family, but not his real family, because my other kid's father was great. His parents was great to him, but I'm sure he always had those thoughts like, hey, my own grandparents, like when I'm gonna be able to see my own family. So those are the things that I just think that he might have thought about, but in his older days, he told me like, cause he has a lot of good friends and they're two parent home friends. So he would just tell me like, "Dang, mom, that's what makes me kind of sad sometimes when I see my friends interact with their dads, and I don't have that, and I'll never have that, and that just touches your heart as a mom. You don't want to hear that from your kid, and that's just a problem that you can never fix. So those things are really difficult to deal with when you're dealing with it mentally. It's easy to say things, but when you actually digest those words and pull them apart and understand what they mean when they coming from your kid, it's like he's crying out, but you can't help him in that form. So you got to take other manners to get them through it. And those are the hard days when you gotta be strong for your kids and you don't even know how to be strong, but you just
Hmm.
gotta hold on because you know that's the only thing you can do.
Cause you're dealing with your own grief, and then you gotta comfort them too.
Exactly.
Um, I know for me, cause my two oldest kids, their dad was in prison. Uh, my oldest son, he was 1.5 when he went in. He was 10, I think, when he got out. And my youngest son was still in my stomach when he went in. But I know for them, when I was with my daughter's dad for all those years, even though he was, helpful and somewhat, they always knew, like, oh, we have a dad. And they used to, when they would get mad at him, they would say things like, oh, we can't wait for our dad to get out. Like, they were so hopeful that their dad was, gonna get out and be the dad that, you know, that they wanted, like, everybody else had. And I
Mhm.
think once he got out and, they realized that he wasn't gonna be that dad, I think that really broke them. I think that's when I saw like a change. And um that's basically when I remember him saying that he used to hope that we would get back together. And so that, I think that had a lot to do with him. But I remember trying to comfort him through that, like trying to explain to him. I know it's not the same as yours, but I remember that was just one particular part where I really felt for, you know, them. I felt for both of my sons.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the hardest part is having to see them in that situation because it's like, what can you actually tell? You can't keep it from them. It's not like you can shelter them from knowing it. And if they
Yeah.
want to see him, I remember when my second kid's father was in jail, I used to tell them, I wouldn't tell them that he was in jail. I would just call it the place. Of course now they 10 years old, so they know what the place is or was now. But back then they were only like 4 years old, a couple months. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to tell y'all your dad is in jail right now. I'm just going to say he at the place.
Yeah.
But they
And
know
I think a
now.
lot of people do that. I know a lot of moms, like I've heard from past stories, they tell them like, "Oh, dad's on vacation," or "Dad's away for work," or stuff like that.
Hmm.
Depending on the time, I think if it's for years and years, you eventually got to come up with something else. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I think so. But to be honest, I don't even want to use the word baby daddy no more. I just want it to be father of my child or nothing at all because I remember when I met my first baby daddy's family and they from like down south and stuff. And his auntie was so mad at me because I called him my baby daddy and she was like, "Why do you young women do that? It's the mother of his child." And she was just on my head for like 30 minutes trying to school me about
hmm
saying that. And I'm like, now that I think about it, baby mama, baby daddy, that's just like that boyfriend, girlfriend type of situation. Like, no, you got to be a real mom, a real
hmm
mother, a real father, and you know what those words mean when you put in the work in. Because
yeah,
anybody can, be the dad or be the mom, but it takes a real woman and father to be one. You got
hmm
to set good examples and all of those things.
yeah, I think that as because I have kids who are got a big age gap, not as close as your kids are. Um,
Hmm.
I have, two kids that are grown. I have twins that are going to be grown in a few months. And then a 15-year-old and then a 6-year-old almost. So just over the years, like I've seen I've seen the difference in the kids, like how they
Hmm.
change.
Oh yeah, these generations get more different about a year.
hmm Yeah, these kids, and that's what I keep saying. Like I think I saw something on who was it? The Breakfast Club. I think Charlamagne and Guy was saying something. I think I told you he was like, he's he is sure that anything that came after 1980, God didn't have nothing to do with that. Like God didn't make that.
Mhm.
And it
That's
was just
crazy.
funny because it's the kids during these generations are like they nothing like we were. You know what I mean? And we try to adjust and adapt with the times, but it's never enough. Like it's something else always coming up that you gotta adjust to.
Mhm. Always. I don't understand how these phones update, every year or every couple years. You gotta hurry up and get a new phone, and people love to do that too. I'm not upgrading. I'm not
Yeah.
doing that.
I think the
We,
phones too, that's another thing because we didn't have those in our generation, and now
right.
it's like, especially if you a mom and you working all the time and your kids have access to phones, they on the internet, you got to be checking daily. And
Mhm.
I think now, that's what I was going to say earlier, is now that my kids are older and I have a younger child, I'm more conscious of what I'm doing. I'm more conscious of what I'm playing when I'm around him. I'm more
Yeah.
conscious of what I'm teaching, because I'm aware of the mistakes I made with the older kids,
Mhm.
and I'm able to make better choices with my younger child.
Yeah.
And sometimes I run into the problem with the older kids where they feel like, oh well, you wouldn't have let us get away with that, or you wouldn't have
Mhm.
did that with
I
us.
hear the same thing. They
And
they
I'm
pay attention to that.
Yeah, and I'm always like, and I tell them, like, you're supposed to grow as a person. I'm like, you don't want
Mhm.
me to be the same person that I was in my early 20s, middle 20s.
Kids
In my
don't
late,
get it.
yeah,
They
I'm
don't realize
I'm
that.
trying to be better, and that's what I tell them, like, you should want your younger siblings to be better than you was, be better than the
Well,
mistakes you.
it's I mean, it's just a matter of growing up, like
Yeah,
when we young, we do certain things certain ways, and then when you get older, you don't do those things no more. For instance, for me, it was like when I was younger, it's my house, I'm the adult. I'm gonna smoke my weed in my house. I'm not gonna worry about it. But it comes a time when you an adult and you don't need to be doing that around your kids. Like they don't need to be
absolutely.
inhaling that or
Because you
you
more, that's
know,
what I was saying.
yeah,
You more
exactly. But
aware,
you
you
don't
more
care when you
conscious.
young and just yeah, like you just like I'm about to
You
smoke this
care
baby
about
about to
having a good
chill.
time.
I'm
You don't
good.
care about
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
long term effects. You don't care about
Mhm.
what you teaching your kids, and
Not
that's
at
another
all.
thing. You are, as parents, we are kids' first teacher. We show them how to react when they mad. We show them how to react when they sad. We show them, they
Yeah.
watch us, and that's how they learn. And
And you
I've
cannot
noticed.
be the one acting like a little kid as an adult and expect
Mhm.
your kids to behave better than that. You got to show them that you can behave because you can't expect them to act a way you didn't teach them to act. If you handle your problems screaming and yelling, you wonder why
That's
they
what I was
screaming
gonna
and yelling.
say. I was just talking to Auntie last night about that, and it just made me reflect, because I've been reflecting a lot these past few months, just because I'm trying to figure out like what's going on, what's leading up to these problems with my kids.
Ain't
But
nothing wrong with it. Hey, kudos to you for trying to fix the problem. Because a lot of us leave it undone and it just be like left in the air. So at least you trying to identify the problem and get to the bottom of it. Some people don't even care enough to do that. So
yeah, that's what I was.
kudos to you for real.
I've been reflecting, and I told Auntie, I was like, when I'm into it with my kids and they become so disrespectful and talking to me crazy, calling me out my name, cursing at me
Hmm.
and threatening me and stuff, sometimes I revert back to my early 20s, and I told my auntie, like, that's I see, like, that's how my kids react, because that's what they see when I got mad over these years. They see, like, that's how
At
turned
least
up
you're
I
starting to
get.
recognize it, and you just need to
Yeah.
pray and ask God to hold your tongue for you. You
That's
know.
what did I tell you I've been doing this week? Like
Yeah.
that's the main thing because I have a really wicked tongue and I'm trying every day like not to, because when I'm angry, like that's one thing, I'm a Taurus, so I'm real stubborn already. And when I hold a grudge, I hold a grudge. And that's how I be. And so my anger towards the person I may be mad at is just pure wickedness. And
Hmm.
I'm trying to be
You want to
better
be better.
because yeah, I don't want to be not just for other people, but I want to be better for myself. And I know I watch
And
Tabitha
watch, when
Brown.
you do get there, you're gonna go so much further because if you, I learned that with my
No, I
attitude,
know
toning
that.
it down will get you a lot closer to
Yeah.
what you need.
And like they say, you get more you get more bees with honey than, or you know the saying I'm saying. But
Hmm.
I watch Tabitha Brown, and I remember one morning she tried to give you a little message every couple days or so, and she was like, even if you having a bad day, it's okay. We human, but you ain't gotta mess up nobody else's day. And I'm trying to
Hmm.
carry that with me because I walk around with a frown. Like my attitude that day, you can see it clearly on my face.
You wear it on your face. You wear your
Hmm.
attitude on your sleeve.
Yeah, and I'm trying to. Another thing that I have is that's what I was saying. Like, I don't want to be to where I'm reacting the same way as my kids are when we're in the middle of a confrontation. It's to the point
Hmm.
now where I've just decided, like, I'm just gonna tune them out because somebody got to be the person that don't feed into it because they're
Hmm.
kids. They're gonna keep antagonizing me. They're gonna keep doing what they do because that's what they do. And I'm learning now, like the most important lesson I've learned probably this year. It's the end of the year, and it was the perfect time for me to really get the messages that I gotta stop. I gotta let go of stuff and stop trying to control things that are out of my control. And for the
Hmm.
longest, that's what I was doing, trying to make my kids be a certain way because they should. And although, it's right, I'm supposed to, give them values and morals and set, you know, discipline and consequences and teach them
Hmm.
things. But at the same time, you can't walk for them. They got to learn on their own. And
Yeah,
we
experience
all
is the
made
best teacher.
mistakes and we learn. Sometimes we made bad ones. Sometimes we made good ones, but we learn from our mistakes, hopefully, and we make better ones, and that's all we can hope for our children. I
And
got
that
two
is
kids.
something hard to do. I don't
It
know
is.
how it is for you to be a mother of adults now because it's a big difference in being a
Oh,
mother of
don't
an
get me
adult
started on the adult
versus
kids.
a kid, because the wants and the needs are totally different and your worries become different. You
Mhm.
worry about them with regular people out here that sometimes ain't no good,
Yeah,
versus where your 4 year old at, where your 10 year old at, where your 17-year old at, but
but you
you
don't know what the
18
grown
and
one's doing.
25,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And you be worried about them, because
you know what
anything
they
can
doing?
happen.
They doing the same stuff we did when we was their age. That's what I'm.
Well, I hope not.
I know, right?
Because at 19, I was off the chain. And I'm not telling you little whippersnippers to be acting a fool. Y'all need to be respectful of y'all parents. Let me tell y'all that. Because these generations don't got no respect. And I'm trying to tell y'all kids, y'all need to have some respect for the people that's clothing you, feeding you, making sure you got a roof over your head, making sure you get to school. And if your mama and daddy in your ear about them grades, you better get them. Because when you turn 18, ain't no more baby in you. Ain't nobody. I just had a conversation with my son about that. He was
I
home,
just did
you
too.
know, for
One of the
from
twins.
college, and I told him, being an adult is different, right? If you don't get those grades up, ain't nobody coming to tell you. Ain't nobody calling
Uh-huh.
your mama telling them
They
you
just
missed
gonna kick
school
you
today,
out.
right? They just gonna let you get those grades, and it's gonna roll over to you being up out of there. So
Hmm.
when you an adult, you gotta plan your life and you got to stick to those things because if you mess up, they don't care no more. Your 12th grader teacher might care about your education or if you came to school for the whole week. But in college, they don't give a care about that. So
That's
make
what
sure
I
you
was.
pay attention.
That's what I was
Hmm.
just telling one of my sons too. Like, I said, I can't baby y'all no more. I said, you want me to enable you and do the same stuff I said, no, you about to be a grown man in a few
Mhm.
months. I said, the rules are going to be different. It's not going to be the
Nope.
same. These going to be adults you interacting with. It's not going to be teenagers and kids
Yes.
anymore. And I think that's the hardest thing. That's what I was saying, like letting go of control because you trying to save them and prepare them for what's coming. But
Mhm.
when you get all this opposition and fighting and arguing from them when you just trying to help them, they're young, they can't see because as adults
Yeah,
now
we
I
don't
can
see it
honestly,
till we see it.
yeah, as an adult now I can even honestly look back and say a lot of stuff my mama told me, even though it was right, I wish she would have explained to me a little more. And not only that, the stuff she did tell me, it was right. I should have listened to those few things, which wasn't much,
Mhm.
but it was a couple that really sticks with me and resonates with me. Um,
Yeah.
another thing, another thing that I will say, I'm gonna say three things because one thing that my mom always instilled in us, we grew up Muslim, so we grew up with the love for our people, our culture, and now, after I became a mother at 15 and I went out into the world, I didn't really like being Muslim. I don't know if people are familiar with it, but you pray a lot. Like at my grandparents' house, my grandpa's house, we used to have a room house, a back house that was dedicated solely to prayer with the carpets and everything. We used to have to go out there and pray constantly. And we would go to the mosque all the time, and the sisters and the brothers would, I mean, the sisters would escort you to your seats and stuff. We couldn't eat pork, so we ate a lot of beef, chicken, and turkey growing up, and that's what really like did it for me. So once I was free, I went out into the world.
You
I've
said
been a
once I was
Christian.
free.
Yeah, once I was free, I went to different churches and Christian churches and stuff like that. I actually raised my
Yeah.
kids as Mormon, and I know people like what, but I, a long story short, I got into
Sure,
the
them
Mormon.
Mormons getting their word out though. Hey,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
was
see no
gonna say,
Christians knocking on your front door.
not only that, the Mormons, they are very family orientated. I always felt going in like black Christian churches and Baptist churches, it's like a fashion show. All the older
Mhm.
people talk about everybody. The young people is, off the chain, just there to be dressed up, who looking better. And in a Mormon church, it's not like that. Like people
Right.
come in there as you are, and there's a lot of programs. There's a young women's, there's a young men's, there's uh um a relief society for women and for the mothers, and then there's a men's part for them. Then there's Sunday school is for the children, and then there's for couples and individuals. So, and then
Yeah,
they
I've been a
always,
couple of times. I think I
yeah, and
went once or two, and then
they have so many activities. They have singles nights. They have my kids did Boy Scouts through them. So that's what I really loved about it. And they're very helpful and very like they believe we're a family. So they're very helpful when something
I've been to
happens.
some non-dominational churches too.
See, I haven't been to any of those. Yeah, how was that?
It was pretty cool. They just believe in God and just don't put no label on it. And
Yeah.
then, the churches in Vegas are different. I'm used to them, TD Jakes preaching
Yeah, that's what
preachers.
I'm saying. I don't like
And,
those kind of churches.
and see, those are my type of churches. I just
I
feel like,
know.
I get, yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't
But,
like
I
those
mean,
kind
I'll
of
go
churches.
to different ones because they have a lot of them out here that have rock bands and stuff, so
Hmm.
they just mainly playing the instruments, which is cool.
Yeah.
But,
I will say one thing though, in the black churches and the churches that you like to go to, I love the band be off the chain.
yeah,
Like
the band.
the
Yeah,
piano
the
player and the
beep,
drummer,
beep,
that
beep, beep, beep,
yep,
beep, beep,
that's
beep,
one thing. That
beep.
drummer and that
Yeah.
pianist
I
gonna
used
give
to
you
be
a
in the
show.
choir when I was a kid. It was so fun. It was so
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
That I used to be in a choir too. I actually did a praise dance at my
Oh, I
at
wanted to
our,
be a praise dancer so bad, but I danced like a little white girl, so I wasn't even gonna try it.
I do
Wasn't even
too.
gonna
That's what I
try
was
it.
about to say. I did it at
I had a
dance.
little white girl dance too when I was younger.
I did it at dad's church and our stepmom's church. And I did it when I was pregnant with my first son. I did a praise. I know everybody was probably looking at me like, no, this pregnant teenage girl ain't up in here praise dancing. But in my mind, I'm
Hey,
just thinking,
I
I
bet you
said,
God
God
wasn't
know
judging
me.
you. I bet
Yeah,
you
that's what
God
I
wasn't
said.
judging you. So,
Before I went
hey,
out there, I told myself, I said, God know my heart and God know my situation. So he know how my heart is coming. And I went out there and I did good. But I think that was
and you
more of
know,
my
no matter what you do, people gonna judge anyway, whether it's good or bad. You know, we had our first judgmental situation this earlier today. And
yeah.
let me just address that for one
Yeah, I
thing,
was
you
gonna say,
know.
why don't you speak on
Um, I know it's going to be some haters out there, and I know it's going to be some people that don't agree with all the videos that we put out there, but please, please be respectful because I'm not the type of person to go bashing nobody on none of their platforms or whatever they do in life. To each is to own. I know that it's public. I know that everybody has a chance to listen and you can respond how you want to, but let's be decent adults, you know, like whether we cyber bashing or in public with attitudes. Let's be adults, people. You know, like if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing. It's no point to go back and forth. Because what I'm not gonna do is go back and forth with anyone. I'm gonna hit you with something positive because that's what I'm on. That's what this platform is for. We out here trying to support each other as sisters and support anybody else that want to be in this circle of motivation. You know, these are um some critical days we living in, and I feel like we should come together as communities to work together and not be against each other. Everybody has opportunities, you know, and space to do the same thing. So no need to hate on me because I'm not gonna hate on you. If anything, I'm gonna help you. You know, we not those type of people. We not gonna sit here and play those type of games. So if you want to be a part of it, you want to reach out and say something positive, we it's all love here. But please don't be a hater and don't be negative.
yeah, and to piggyback off of what you just said, I think it's very important. Like, while you have your opinion, know that it's just an opinion, and it's just like what we're doing here when we giving y'all our stories and giving y'all our opinions. These are just our opinions based off of our experiences and what we've been through.
Hmm.
So you can't
Exactly.
come on our platform and knock us for our opinion by stating your opinion, because it's the same thing. You can't hit a you can't hit me with the same thing you accusing me of. But at the end of the day, our platform, is for parents, single parents, parents that's two in a house home. We just want to share our struggles because we go through it, and we want to be able to help somebody else based off of what we went through, because they might be going through it now. We want to share
Hmm.
our experiences because, like, we have older kids, grown kids, plus younger kids. And not only that, we know the struggles of being a single mother and the things you got to do that, sometimes you won't even tell people because it's like that. But
And then you get these people that's making all these shows and all these videos that we following, but they don't even live like that, or they don't even have those experiences. They just going off
exactly.
of what somebody told them to act and do. You know, these are real life stories. We really been through the thick of things. You know, so it's just like you can't talk about something and judge something that you ain't never went through. I tell my kids that all the time. Like us as parents, we make mistakes. We don't have a book to follow these things. We just do the
Yeah.
best that we can, you know, so you cannot judge anyone. I get so tired of people telling people, oh, you're not a good mom or you're a good mom. Well, tell me what is the definition of a good mother because
Right.
there is no script to follow. So who knows
All you
who's
can
doing it
say is
right?
you doing a good job. That's it.
Yeah, who's doing it right? Like, well, none of us know. We all could be getting it wrong. Who knows? You know. So, I mean, just the main thing is to help each other, not hurt each other. It's enough of that going around. It's too
And
much of that.
yeah, and I think to kind of uh top that, I just want to say, like, ladies and men, I'm gonna speak to women and men, especially my culture, our people. We gotta stop being in such a rush to lay down with people or be in relationships with people. We got to be better at who we choose to have kids by. um now that I'm older and I see my kids are older and I see the deficiencies and not having their fathers in the home and not having a strong black man to pour into them, to spend time with them, to teach them how to do stuff, everything, they learn from us, from the mothers. And sometimes as women, I know when we're dating, we try to avoid like the hard questions, like, you want to get married? Do you want this? Do you want that? How much you make? Blah blah blah. Where's this going? And so forth. But don't be scared that the man gonna run off, because if somebody's really interested in you, you asking them the stuff that you need to ask them is not gonna run them off. And we need our black fathers to be in the home to raise these boys. And if you can't be in the home, no matter what you and the mother go through, be active in that child's life. Pour into your child or children. Don't just be there to be there. Be there actively participating in the development of that child.
Especially if you have all opportunity, because some men are fighting for
Hmm.
opportunity. So if you have an opportunity, make sure that you take that
But you
opportunity,
don't waste
because
it.
it ain't about the mom and the dad, how y'all feel
It's
about
about
each
the
other. It's
child.
about that
And
kid.
that's got to be your focus for
Yes.
mothers and fathers. Like, because I know sometimes mothers get mad. You argue with the kid's dad because you mad. At the end of the day, you got to stop letting that get you. You got to make sure you see the bigger picture of the benefits of the father being around.
Mhm.
And um like like my sister mentioned earlier, her sharing her stories and some of the stuff that she's done is just to, share with you guys like some of the bad choices that we've made, and
Yeah.
hopefully you it can deter you from going down that path. uh I also want to stress the importance of, I know my sister said I'm really getting into my black power mode, but I really gotta stress to y'all the importance of instilling our culture and history into our kids, because a lot of the kids that's growing up now, they don't know a lot about their history and they take it for granted.
Mhm.
And they don't appreciate it. No, if that makes sense to you guys. And even myself, knowing, as a mother with my kids, like, I've always been, pro black. I've never dated
We should
outside my
do a whole
race.
episode about that.
Yeah, and we will. But that's what I wanted to say. Like, it's very important that kids know they history, and that they're proud of their culture, and that they know that we're kings and queens, and that we are we are the only race that can procreate anything. And that's a beautiful thing. And you need to know that we're the most powerful race, and we got to start, like you said earlier, rallying together and supporting our
My soul
community.
sister.
Yeah, we got to
Next
start
time I
doing
want to see you with an afro, okay?
like you, huh?
Two puff balls, yes.
Yeah.
But you guys, we don't have much more time to talk to you guys, but we are definitely uploading some snippets of different topics. So go ahead and check those out. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate all the love. I know we don't have all the followers yet, but we are getting there and we are setting up avenues. I know my sister put us on Spotify today.
Yeah,
So
so
we
you
getting
guys
there.
can
We getting there.
check us out on Spotify, Life of a Single Mom with Brittney&Creasha. We're also on YouTube. I'm getting us on, I'm looking into how to get us on Patreon, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Live. So yeah, we pretty much want to be wherever you guys are gonna be listening and watching. And make sure you sharing these videos and these clips. And even if you can't listen to the whole podcast, listen to a little bit, because you guys know how it is when you building a brand and trying to be, big. You
Yeah.
up and coming. All the views, all the shares, all the likes, all the comments count.
And we
Even
is
if you
not
got,
gonna be on here booty shaking and doing all that to get no
yeah,
likes and stuff. So help sisters out because this is a positive platform, and too many people want to help the booty shakers and the people getting naked, but you don't want to
mm,
help the people that's talking about something that your
something that's
little sister
positivity
or your little brother might need to hear. You know?
to edge. That's the purpose of this podcast, is to educate. We want to inspire and encourage and
Yeah.
build a community for mothers, especially black mothers. To be able to have that group, we want to be able to share and encourage and support and,
And just
you
know that
know,
you can do this.
give resources to. And that's, I know me and my sister were talking about our ultimate goals. I know hers is to open a in-home health care, and mine's is to open a shelter for families or either women and children, because I grew up in and out of foster care and in and out of homeless shelters. Even as an adult, age 18, with my two older boys, I stayed in a few shelters in Los Angeles. So I know how that is. I know I saw the problems there, and when I open mines, I want to make mines better than what I saw. You know what I mean? And I know that with the support of all you guys, that we can get our platform up. I know me and my sister were talking about inviting some guests in the next couple episodes. Um, we not up there. We don't got no famous friends or family that we can invite right now. That's gonna come later. But right now, we do have friends that are moms and family members that are moms, um, dads that want to be a part of it. So y'all let us know what you want to see more of. You want to see more of us interviewing people, hearing other people's stories. You can always email us at
Let us know
LOA.
some topics you want us to talk about or any questions you may have about the topic we spoke on.
You
Yeah,
guys
just
can
reach out.
email us at LOASM2024 at gmail.com. And if you guys have any stories that you want to share, you can share them anonymously. We will not share your
Yeah.
information. We'll just give an opinion or after we share the story. If you do want to let people know who you are, that's fine too. um if you guys out there want to come on the show, email us at the email I just provided, the LOASM 2024 at Gmail. Let us know you want to come on. If you have, you want to come on with your kids, let us know. Because like I said, it's a platform for mothers. Is there anything else you want to add, Creasha?
No, just everything that you said is just fine. Just reaching out and sharing and liking. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
And check out our latest episode out on Spotify, as we mentioned earlier. And we're gonna be coming to anywhere you get your podcasts from soon. We're as we develop, we'll start getting merchandise and stuff like that. So you guys stay tuned, and we want to thank you guys for supporting us and tuning
Yes.
in. Let us know too if you want to come and join live, like while we're actually recording. That way you can be a part of it, ask questions, and give your opinions and stuff during the whole episode. And as always, you guys stay safe out there. Uh, my people, stay strong, stay
Stay
woke,
strong.
stay woke,
Stay woke for sure.
rise,
Stay
and
respectful, positive.
grind.
Enjoy your week.
Yep, it's Monday. Let's get it started, and we look forward to
Motivation.
seeing you guys. This episode should be up. Give us a couple days to get it edited at the most. If not, it'll be up sooner. And depending on our schedules, we'll try to start getting these episodes out at least two a week if we can do that. Right now we on a one a week schedule, but I'm gonna talk to my co-host and sister and see what she says. And
Yeah.
you guys have a good week, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.